all of our direct clients that log into the software, process their payroll, call in when they're having questions and things like that. So then also any new clients that have signed up and are coming onto the software, my department works with as well to get everyone started. So today I'm just going to be giving an overview of Payentry NextGen. I'm going to talk a lot about the things that are different in the software. Being Payentry users, legacy Payentry users currently, you'll be surprised to find that there are many things that are incredibly similar and function the same way in Payentry NextGen, just really with an updated look and feel. And then there are some things that we have changed to help make things more customizable, give you, more access and be able to see some more things, and really just make a better, smoother user experience for you while using our software. So to get started, we'll take a look at your brand new home screen. We call this the dashboard. This is really your command center for everything with your payroll. From here, you can go ahead and jump right into payroll. You can access any additional products of ours that you may be using. If you have any questions about any of these products, or if you're seeing these links for the very first time, please feel free to ask questions and reach out to your dedicated client advocate or dedicated support or service rep and ask about these things. If you feel like you're interested in using our timekeeping system and using our electronic hire and onboarding, job posting, being able to track, schedule interviews, and paperlessly onboard people right into Payentry here. If you're taking advantage of any of the government programs, the FFCRA or the CARES Act or any of those programs, we have this brand new COVID-19 assistance module that's out here to show you and break apart those different credits that you're receiving. The HR Answers portal, which allows you to view laws, HR laws from across all 50 states, templates for handbooks, for offer letters and different things like that. So you have a lot of options there. There at your disposal. We also have the link for SecureView here, which SecureView is going to be a reporting engine that's actually stored right here in Payentry NextGen. That option is something that we're wanting to offer and work with everybody to begin using with Payentry NextGen, as it does give you the single sign-on option to have everything accessed right here in one place from Payentry. And I'll show you a bit of that here in just a moment. So moving on to taking a tour around the dashboard even further, we have this brand new, what we call a status bar across the top here. So we not only have this first pane that shows us the last time a background sync was done from the background system to Payentry NextGen, but also shows you the next update. So that's your information, your changes, your payroll coming from this side that you've changed here and going back to our side and vice versa. The next area, this new reports area, this is where you can access your report pickup. So any SecureView reports that you have out here in your every payroll package, any standard company reports that you wish to run, or any reports that you've saved out there as favorites. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit. This next screen shows you the last payroll that was processed for the company and allows you, just by clicking a button, to run a payroll summary report so that you can review basic information, draft information, taxes, and everything right from that screen of what happened in your last payroll. This is a standard report that we set up for many payroll, for most payroll processes that you probably receive, so you are most likely familiar. But if you don't typically use this report, it really is a great tool to see everything broken out and know what your total payroll cost and payroll liability is going to be. So make sure you ask about this if it's something that you don't typically review. The next pane takes you to your active employee list. So not only are you able to click here and get a list of employees that you can sort in different ways, and I'll show you that here shortly, you can also click here to add a new employee. And I'll just click that screen here so you can see. Payentry NextGen is a little bit wider than Payentry Legacy. And the reason why we did that is we wanted to make sure that we were using all of the screen to make sure that you weren't just looking or working in a little box in the middle. So it utilizes all of this space. So some things that were, traditionally maybe below each other, like on a screen like this, have moved up beside because it's wider instead of longer. But all the same fields are here, all in the same order, and you would be very familiar with any of these fields when adding a new employee. So clicking cancel out of here is going to bring me back into this new employee screen that you all haven't seen yet. So this screen comes up, and right now it is automatically sorted by last name in this company. If you wanted to sort by employee ID number, or if you wanted to sort it by first name, by title, by department, you have all of those options here, or by if they're active or terminated. If you have, 20 or less employees, this is a really easy, quick way to come out here and see all of your employees and click on the employee record that you need to visit. If you have more than that, and even if you don't, I like to use this smart search, which is something that is also brand new in Payentry NextGen, and you can access it from any screen. It stays at the top there. And so if you begin keying, for example, the last name of one of these employees, it's going to bring up the employee record here, and you can click there and it will take you directly to that employee's record. For those of you that may have access to more than one company, so if your business, functions as more than one company, or you're a CPA partner or referral partner of ours that works with multiple companies that you have access to, if you type in the last name of someone, no matter which company you're logged into, that's a company that you have access to, it will show you all of the employees with that last name and all of the companies that you have access to. So if your login has access to 10 companies and you have several Bob Smiths, you can type in Smith Bob, and then you'll be able to see which company it is so you can jump to where you need to go. And all 10 Bob Smiths would come up. So I think that's a great feature that the system has that we didn't have previously. You would have to go to that employee list and then search there and then click in. But here you're able to jump there from any screen. So let me find an employee here that has a little bit more detail or information on their page here. So this is the brand new employee snapshot page. This is also something that we didn't have previously, and this is probably my favorite feature of Payentry NextGen. So when you're working with the employee screens, you have access to all of the employees' most important information right here in one place. And not only is it all laid out, all their demographic information, their pay information, the last check, their taxes, some pay history here at the bottom. It'll show, up to 8 of their most recent down here, and then you're able to, click to view all and go to another area. But all of this is clickable. So if you need to make a change and you're not sure where to make it, if it's on this profile, you can click, and it's going to bring me now to the area where I can change that employee's address. So I think it's really incredibly useful. It's laid out well. They did a great job with the design of that, just to really help you navigate even further. The navigation in Legacy Payentry was easy and user-friendly, and I think this really takes it to another level in Payentry NextGen. So all of the same areas, you'll notice that on the snapshot page, not everything is here for an employee that you may expect to see. So we do have all of the same tabs for the employees, just instead of them being, all across the top in an order and you're kind of searching here, they do just fold up here, and we have them broken out into little categories. The only change as far as what information appears on what screen in the employee screens, there is an area that before was your miscellaneous tab. So instead of having a miscellaneous tab, what we wanted to do is just put things where they belong. It doesn't make much sense to have any kind of tax form information on just a miscellaneous screen. It should be somewhere else where it has a permanent home and things like that. So what we did is we created, for the short term, we created this Where's Miscellaneous page. And I'll click here, you'll see these things do kind of accordion out. But we created this Where's Miscellaneous page to help you find those things. So if you need to update someone's clock number, if you need to see if they're a 1099 or a W2, things like that, this page is also clickable. And when you click the area of where it used to be, it will take you to where it is now. So very, very easy to find, since those are fields that we did move off of their original home, you're now able to see where those things live currently. So moving back into an employee area, if we take a look at deductions, one other thing I wanted to point out is that we now have two new buttons that we didn't have before. We have an end deduction, and then we also have an add new deduction button here. So if I wanted to add a new 401k deduction for an employee, I can click to add new, and it goes ahead and pops open this screen where you can update all these details. Before, in Legacy Payentry, you added the information in the line, and then if you needed to change anything else, you had to go deeper into a further screen. So we wanted it just to pop up when you go to add that. So if I wanted to add a new 401k deduction, I'm able to go ahead and do that. And now we have that new deduction added very easily. If I add that new deduction and it defaulted to the next check date that we have set up in the system here, and then I realize, oh, I need to end the previous deduction because he doesn't want to have 45 come out, he just wants to have 40. We also have this end deduction button. And so it says, are you sure you want to end date this deduction? And you say, okay, and it will end date the deduction for the day before your next payroll. So very, very easy way to add and end without having to kind of edit the dates, look at the calendar and all of that. You can go in still at any point and view edit and see all of those same fields that popped up before, but just a really easy way to make changes in Payentry NextGen. So we try anywhere where there's something that you need to add new direct deposit. You click that and then everything that pops up that you need is right here. Very, very simple, easy to use. I feel like it makes sense where things live. So that's the main things that I wanted to point out for you on the employee screens. Things are so similar, but then again, just updated look and feel, and we did some things to help aid in your navigation. So going back to the company dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the payroll process a little bit. Over here on the right, we have this payroll trends graph. This graph helps show you your total payroll cost from, it always defaults to 3 months, but you can change this to 6 months. You can look at this on a year-to-date range, but people have found this really helpful to use as a planning tool. You can also do custom dates and look back and say, okay, last year, what was my highest high and what was my lowest low in payroll? Or what were my peaks and valleys to really help plan and help them budget. You can also run a PDF of this if you find that helpful. And then over here, the start payroll area, it shows you the current payroll that we're in. So the next payroll for this company, Dream Home Realty, is June 19th, 2020. From this area, you can access the check calculator, which is labeled Create Manual Check here. If that's something that you typically use a lot of, it'll look very similar to what you're using in Payentry Legacy now. So if you choose to come out to check calculator, if you need to record a check that was paid out of payroll, or you need to calculate a gross pay from a net pay, or any of those type of things, you can click out here, input your information that you need to key, find out how much a bonus is going to be, or that you need to write a check for, things like that. You can add your line, put in your amount details, and then click to view the check. And then that'll pop up here. And again, this is just for manual checks, so checks that are being recorded and paid outside of payroll, or if you're just coming out here to check a calculation before you do your payroll. But I did just want to point that out for you, that you're able to access that right here from this home screen. All these buttons are clickable as well. We'll go ahead and just click on Start Payroll here, but we can do the same thing by starting here. It'll bring you to this next screen to start your cycle. You'll see your batch out here. This is where I just tell people to kind of pause and just double check their check date and their pay period, make sure that's what they're expecting to pay, that they didn't skip one or they're not maybe at the end of their cycle yet, and just take a look there and then go ahead and click to start payroll. So right now it's calculating, it's building the batches. Anybody that is a salaried employee is going to already be included in the batch. So you'll notice here that I haven't added anything into the payroll yet, but it already shows that we have employee taxes, deductions, and pay because of those salaried employees. Across the top here, we have an add batch button. So if you need to add a second batch of checks, so if you want to maybe put bonuses in a second batch so you can run reporting separately, that's something that you can do from here. I do, however, just recommend that if you do need to add a second batch to your payroll for any reason, reach out to your client advocate, reach out to the service team, and just check with them. There are several settings that we can change and update on the back end, and there may be, things with taxes and things like that. So I always just caution and say, if you need to add that second batch, that's no problem, but just reach out and have somebody take a look at it with you. The next area we have are for time imports. So if you're currently uploading a file from either another timekeeping system, or if you're currently using our timekeeping system, Payentry Time Management, this is the area where you can import your payroll. If you were using an outside timekeeping service and not our time management, there would be an option here to browse for a file. And then you would browse for the file, select, and then click import. With Payentry Time Management, you approve the time cards in the time management portal and check off that the pay period is closed. And then you click to send hours to payroll. And then you just have to click import here because the transfer of information is integrated and happens behind the scenes. So it's a little bit different here, but that's where you pull in your time. If you have questions about using time management, absolutely reach out to your client advocate. They can help, provide you a demo and get you going down that path. But very, very easy to use, user-friendly timekeeping system that is completely integrated with payroll, your employees, your calendar, and all of that. Then again, we can also access the create manual check area from here. So this is your check calculator, and that can be accessed here as well. This area, the estimated total payroll cost area, this is something that's brand new. What we have here for the first time in that estimate is we have also the estimated employer taxes that are going to be paid on the payroll. So once you enter in all of your pay information, this number gives you a great estimate of what's actually going to come out of the bank, except for your billing that you pay to Payentry or to the payroll service bureau. So on this, it's something that, again, we haven't had before. Previously, when you run your PreProcess Register, you can only see all the employee taxes. This does not provide a breakdown of those employer taxes prior, but it does give you just that idea and that estimate. So it's something we didn't have before, and we will look at continuing to enhance our PreProcess capabilities to show more information before the payroll processes. Down here, this is your payroll batches screen. This shows you your batch, what batch you're currently working in, and at what status you're in processing the payroll. So currently all we've done is started the batch. We haven't entered in any information, reviewed and verified it, or closed it yet. So this is just that screen. In Legacy, you click payroll entry and click payroll batches, and then it would bring you to your two options, employee pay entry or batch pay entry. So here we have one option, and then you can do employee pay entry or batch pay entry from this next screen, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click in to enter payroll wages from here. One thing to note before I click there is that if you only have salary people and you only are going to come out and just review your pre-process and go ahead and push your payroll through, you can go ahead and just run your pre-process register from this screen as well. Okay, so this is what we call the pay grid on the inner wages page. And there are several pieces of information out here. So don't let it be overwhelming. I'll kind of show you what it all means. So there's a lot out here. And if you're typically entering in your employee wages check by check, I'll show you that option too here in just a moment. But the goal for this screen is for you to be able to add columns here to enter in all of the pieces of information, all of the hours, all of the amounts that you're typically keying on a one-by-one basis, and be able to do it all in one place. So this gear here brings up the customizable options here for this pay grid. Anything in this standard columns area, all of these items are just informational items that show up here. So if I uncheck any of these items, you'll notice behind me that things are going away and columns are disappearing. So that doesn't take anything off of an employee's check or anything like that. It's just taking away what is displayed on this grid and what we can see here. So for entry here, say I have a pretty standard payroll. I really just enter in regular hours, overtime hours. Sometimes I have vacation, and that's really all that I use. So I added those fields here and then click to close. One thing to note is that you can drag and move these columns around. You can also resize them. So those are all options that we have. We can move these things around. I left this column for auto pay. That way you can see the employees that are salary, that have an automatic pay that they're receiving. It's as easy as checking these or unchecking these if someone is not going to be receiving salary. If they do receive salary every time, they would be automatically checked here. If they don't, and it's something that you typically have to enter, or maybe they typically get it once a month, it would be checked or unchecked the same way that it is in legacy Payentry. And I haven't mentioned this to this point. I'm working in a demo company, but all of the information that is on your employees, set up on your company, all of that, everything is still all contained here within Payentry NextGen. Payentry NextGen is an updated, upgraded look and feel, different front end from the same back end of information. So you don't have to worry about losing anything, any custom reports you have built, any of your employees' history. Everything is out here, and this is completely live. So if you made a change in legacy Payentry right now, that change would show here on Payentry NextGen. So I just wanted to point that out, that everything is still here. We don't have to transition information or move anything. It's all still out here for you. So doing entry in this grid, very, very simple. You may have noticed a moment ago that the screen refreshed and had an auto save. That's if you're working with many employees and you're entering in time. We don't want you to, say it takes you more than 20 minutes to key in your payroll process. Payentry, if you don't move around on a screen, Payentry does typically log you out after about 20 minutes as a security measure. So that auto save just makes it so everything that you're entering is getting saved every minute. So you don't have to worry about losing anything if you walk away and go take a call and then you haven't moved on the screen, and then you lose your access and you have to go back in. So that's something that we did not have in legacy that we do have here, which is very nice. So doing entry here is very simple. Once you've added one of those columns that we did here, one of these pay grid items for entry, then we click into the column where we need to make entry, and we just put in the number, and if you hit enter, it will save that there, and it'll take you down to the next line. Or if you want to do employee by employee, if you hit tab, it will take you over. So if that person had 40 hours of regular, 10 hours of overtime, now I'm finished with them. If we're going to give everybody, let's say everybody took a vacation day, it was a mandatory vacation day for some reason, I can just hit 8 and I can just enter, 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 and just go down. So very, very easy to kind of navigate in these pay grid items and move around. So this is one option that you have for entry. If you have other fields that you need, so right now we have regular, overtime, we have vacation. If you have other fields that you need here to help make this pay grid serviceable for you, so say you typically pay commission and things like that, you do have the option to go and customize and add a new pay grid item for your use. This is something that you can and do have access to add for yourself, but you can also reach out to your dedicated client advocate and they can assist you in case you have any questions about any of these options. So right now what I'm entering is I entered in a grid item code, a column heading, and a description. These are all things that are going to show up when we select it. What the title is going to be in that gear option out here, what it's going to show on the top of this column here. And so what I've done is I've entered in that information and then I'm going to tie an earning code to it. So now I've created the column. This is me saying what earning we want to pay using that column. And then I'm going to say it's going to be an amount because the commission I'm going to key, I'm giving people, $500, $600 of commission. The ones that are red here are the ones that are required. I typically just put in a description as well and just make all of that match to make it easy. Everything else below here is not required, but are things that can be used to further customize. So to code those earnings to a certain department. So say all of the commission that they're paid always gets coded to sales or something of that nature. Everything's tied to a certain workers' comp code because it's a certain job, things like that. So, but really all of that stuff, those are all just customizable options. And if you need help with any of those things, like I said, reach out to your client advocate and use these few options just up here from pay code and value type up to get you started in the basic sense. So I'll save and close here. And I'll go back into the enter wages here. I did just add that on another screen, you'll notice, and that's something that we try to do in Payentry NextGen, so that way you don't lose your place. So I will just close this. I'm going to do a quick refresh here, and then I'm going to have the option for my commission column. So I can click to add that column. It's going to show up here at the end, and I can give people their commission. So $500, $450, $100. So very, very easy to go down and make these entries here. Now, if you don't tend to use the batch pay entry option to key everybody in at one time, or say you have a time import or you have all salary people and you really just need to enter in bonuses this one time, in order to enter in employee pay information, employee by employee, you just click the edit check option beside any employee's name. If you have a lot of employees, you can choose to show up to 50 employees on this screen, but you can also click here and you can, Autosave here. Let me refresh. Sometimes when I'm in this demo, there we go. So we can click here and key in the employee's name, and it'll bring up the one employee that we need to work with. And then if we remove that, all of the employees return. But I'm just, since I only have, about 11 actually here, I'm going to go ahead and click edit check beside Nicole Smith. And it'll bring me up to a screen that should look very familiar. The colors are different, but the function and the layout is very much the same as it is in legacy pay entry. So this is the employee pay entry option. So on this screen, we have, and you will have, all of the same options that you always have available readily each time. And then you'll always also have all of the options that are available on your company as well to be able to add things. But if we needed to come in here, Nicole's receiving a salary of $769.23, but now we also are going to pay Nicole a bonus. I'm adding bonus as an option here, and then I'm able to put in her $500 bonus. I can click to calculate the check so I can review, and I can see what her check looks like there. And then my options here are I can either click save and close, and that will bring me back to this pay grid. Or if you don't want to come back out to this pay grid and you have entry to make on another employee, we have the list up here. And this list will be sorted the way you have this pay grid sorted here. So if I want to, I typed there, if I want to search within this list, so I typed Curb and it jumped me right to Paul Curb. So you can do that. It'll bring you to his check details, all of his information, or you can click next and cycle through if you just want to click through and take a look at everybody on a one-on-one basis. That's also an option that you have. Let's say that Paulette took vacation and we're on this screen. We wanted to take a quick peek and see if she had any vacation hours left. We can click that little employee summary. That's going to show us her base rate and then also any accruals that she might have. So Paulette has 250 hours of vacation, so she's more than good for us to go ahead and add vacation hours to her. And so to add hours, it's the same as clicking to add the amount that I showed you before. You can collapse this back or it can remain there. The same options are over here. So if you're, switching to a bonus check type, a commission check type, something like that, or if you need to block deductions for one time. So, okay, this employee wanted to block their 401k this time, and we want to save it on just this check. All the same options that are available in Legacy Payentry are available here. So we tried to make this, as comparable as possible, and then we also, added some additional features here as well. So I'm going to pop here back to the pay grid. From here, once you've entered in everything, if you're ready to run your PreProcess register, you can go ahead and do that from this screen, or I can go back to the Payroll Batches screen. And again, that gives me the option up here and then also here. One thing that is different in Payentry NextGen is that it is required that you run your PreProcess register and click to verify your totals. We had a lot of requests for that. It really is just a way for you to sign on, or for you to sign, your payroll and say, I've reviewed it, everything here is accurate, and everything's entered to the best of my knowledge, and I've verified that everything here is correct. And so, not only is that good for you because it does give you the option to come out here, review, and it makes it a required step, and it's always great to double check. It also is nice, if maybe you have, a manager in your organization that's doing payroll entry, and then maybe you're the controller, the CFO, and you like to go back and put a final look on things. Your manager, your admin can go in, they can verify that they're finished, then you can go back in and take a look. And you can see that they've verified, and you can go in and you can review it as well. But once you click to run your PreProcess register, it will come up on this screen. From this screen, if you typically like to save a copy of your PreProcess register, you can do it here. If you like to print, if you like to change the size, make it larger so it's on the whole screen. You can zoom in, we can zoom out, smaller, larger. So a lot of options here for reviewing this. Previously, it popped up in its own screen. We do have it housed in here because of this verified function. These two things need to be connected together. But again, you can download it and pull it up on a PDF if that's something that you'd like to do, and also print it for your review. Once you verify that the totals are correct, so if I look through everyone and I feel like everything's been entered and I want to go on to the point where I close and submit my payroll, I can go ahead and click Totals Verified, Close Payroll. But let's say I noticed that I needed to make a change. When I was looking at Ryan, I noticed that his hourly rate says 14, but it was supposed to be 13. If I click to go back to the batches and go back into payroll here, I can actually click on Ryan's name, and it's going to bring me to Ryan's employee profile. And notice here that we still have the payroll open. This is, again, an area where we wanted to open up a second tab. That way you don't lose your place in payroll. In legacy Payentry, when you need to make a change on an employee in the middle of payroll, you have to go all the way back to the home screen and then come all the way back in to make your change, back out, and then back into payroll. So we wanted to take away some of those clicks and a little bit of that pain. But it would pop me right here. I can make a change on Ryan, or if I needed to double check something. And then once I'm finished making the change, I can close out and it will bring me back to the payroll. Then I'd be able to run my report again. I would see that my change was updated, and then I could go ahead and verify my payroll and close the batch. So I'll go ahead and click totals verified, close batch here. And so these things are thinking here. So now I have my full total estimated payroll cost. You'll notice that these are now green: batch started, wages entered, reviewed and verified, batch closed. The last step that you need to do at this point is just click to submit your payroll. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's going to come up. It's going to ask if you want to look at the PreProcess Register one more time to make sure you've already verified it, so you don't have to do that. You can go ahead and click to submit the payroll. You'll notice that the payroll is submitting there for just a moment, and then we have 3 green check marks. In legacy Payentry, it was 3 blue check marks. Here it is 3 green. So once the screen has changed to these 3 green check marks and View PreProcess Register has appeared here, then the payroll process is finished on your side, and you're just waiting for a sync to occur back and forth so this can sync over and process on the back end. And then we'll produce your reports, and you'll be able to come back in and start your next payroll or access everything if you'd like. So that's the basics of the payroll process. I'm sure there'll probably be questions on that. It's not incredibly different. Configuring your pay grid is a one-time, the same as configuring in that batch pay entry screen in legacy Payentry. So very, very easy to use, easy to navigate, and provides a lot of flexibility for you. All right, so the last thing I want to show everyone that we haven't covered is I want to take a look at reports. So you can get to reports a couple of different ways. So if we click on reports here, over here to the left, and then also this SecureView area, which will be new to some of you that aren't using this currently. But if I click on this reports area, it's going to bring me to my report pickup area, which if you're downloading reports, running reports, you'll be familiar with. These will be all of your reports that you've run or requested to run in the last 24 hours, and they'll be out here for you for 24 hours, and then you can obviously run them again at any time. These are saved reports. So these are either A, report writer reports, so custom reports that either you or we have built for you over time, and they typically appear at the top of your report screen in legacy Payentry, or something brand new that we have. This is a saved report, so kind of like a favorite or a report scratch pad for you. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that and how you do that. This is something that's new and something that I love. We do have so many reports, and it's fantastic. It's incredible that we have, all these reports that can pull all of this information for you. But these are a lot of reports. There's a lot here. And so if you know that there's something that you run often, what we can do, and you'll notice we've broken reports into categories now to kind of help you know, because there are so many things, to kind of help you know what's contained in each of these reports. So this is a report that's about time off. This is a report about ACA, about employee information, etc. But what you can do is you can search for a name of a report here. It's going to pull up the report for you. And then I'm going to click to run the report. And if this is something that you run often, if it's something that you receive with every payroll, you'll automatically get that. But let's say this is something different. Let's say at the end of the month, you always, or at the beginning of the next month, you always like to share your totals or review your totals from the previous month. So what you would have to do normally is come out here, run this report, choose previous month, change any of your sorting options. So let's say we wanted it sorted by name instead of the default of department name. So if you wanted to change any of those things, you can change those here. And then we can click this new checkbox that says display this report in my reports. It's like adding this report as a favorite with all of your customizations still attached. So I click to display it in my report. I'm going to call this month end register, just as a kind of a test demo name here. And then I'm going to go to run the report. So if I click, I was going to click back to reports, but it ran so fast I didn't have an option here. But so it popped up for me. This is going to be everything that was processed for check dates that were in the month of April. I chose previous month. But if I go back into my reports here, you'll notice number one, here's the payroll register that I ran, but then also I now have this month end register option here. So it's saved as a favorite, and if I choose to run it again, instead of defaulting to most recent pay period, it has previous month, and it has all of my sorting options that I've chosen for name. So this is something I love because not everybody runs all reports. Not everybody's using all the same parts of the product. So it is nice to be able to customize your report area. And here you'll see all these monthly labor. That's been a go-to of mine in demos in the past. So I decided to change it up this time for you guys. All right, so the next area, we looked at the company reports area where we're able to look at all these categories, and we can also search to type in. The next thing I want to show you is what SecureView looks like in Payentry NextGen. If you're already using SecureView, you'll be familiar with this view. We call it the tree view. Basically what happens is when your payroll processes, you receive an email that says that payroll reports are available on SecureView for you with a link to log in to review your reports. Here, we have all of the reports that we've set up to process out for you with every payroll. They're organized by date, and then you have your copy of your check stubs and all of that. You also receive all of your quarterly reports out here, all of your year-end documents. If this is something that you're not currently using, please ask your client advocate about it. We'll be working with everybody, but this is a great option that we have, and it really just lets you handle your payroll all in one place. And we store these securely automatically out here for you for 3 years. And we can even change that if you need something, for a different, rate of retention based on the industry you're in or something like that. So all of these reports are out here for you and very, very easy to download these reports at any time. So check the box for what you need, click to download selected. And so that's going to bring up a little file, and then I'm going to have all of the reports here that I wanted to download, and I can move them somewhere else and save them, but very, very easy. If you're just viewing one report, it will pop up a second screen with that one report for you so you can review. This is a demo company, so they didn't have billing, but if you do multiple, it'll pop up the zip file so that you can save it that way. In Payentry NextGen, what we've also added for SecureView is we have a searchable list as well. So everything broken out by date the same way, but then it also gives you the option to search. So say you need to download all pay stubs from all year. So there's your personal earnings statement, all of the employee pay stubs, and you can do that this way. So very, very easy to use, reporting stored right in Payentry. And if it's not something that you're using currently, I highly recommend it. You get your reports really quickly, usually about 20 minutes after you click submit payroll. So they come out really quickly, sometimes even faster, and you're able to review everything out here. So those are the different reports areas. I'll just go back to the dashboard here. I'll go ahead and I've shown, really everything that I typically like to go through here. Tried to point out, a lot of the features about the employee screens, payroll, reports, how those different things function. So right now, I'll just go ahead and open it up to questions. So if you have a question, I haven't seen anything come through yet?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay.
Yeah, I have them on this, and I'm still here listening away.
All right.
Great demo. I learned a lot this time. I have someone that's asking, will this be recorded? And yes, I did record this one.